Everyone again, Spectre Senence here, the first Spectre for Spectre Studios. Um, Basically want to get a chance to kind of at least talk about the new 6th edition. It's been out there for a little bit. I was able to get a game in, and that was pretty much allows me to kind of see a lot of things that are basically happening in the new world of 40K. And for part of me, since been playing this since 2nd edition, get to see a lot of the history, the choices of going back and forth by Games Workshop. And I kind of go over a couple things that I saw that have affected the game. A couple things I think are very interesting and some things to kind of bring forth to the table moving forward. So hope you're just sitting back, just listening to me, maybe paying, whatever like that. That's kind of what this video is all really kind of helping you do, just some background noise. And also talking about the hobby if you're interested from my point of view and the Spectre Studios type of push that we're doing forward with things like that, and we plan on getting some of those bat reps out pretty soon. We're going to one more team tournament next week. That's what's on pretty much my agenda. Once I get past that, we'll probably set up a bat report. I've got an opponent that we're lined up pretty soon with. Going to be feeling the Tau because the 6th edition has made a lot of the lesser tier armies very playable now. I've been hearing very good things with the Tau Force because now they really have a lot of things that were more in the flavor of their army, and that's really where I really hope people have now. We've heard all the rumors and discussed about this thing, disappointed with this, hoping for this, and I've got to say, for most part, except so far with the terrain things going on objectives, 6th edition is definitely a game that really is showing a lot of the flavor of the army. It's really pushing a lot of things out there. I think it's really, really exciting, really fun. And we're going to really see how a lot of those things are pushing in. The first thing that really we've noticed on the new 6th edition is wound allocating. And this was really having a great deal of effect of how models are being removed. Instead of now just picking models from the back or the weakest guys and putting in models, those that are in the forefront are being removed. So for armies that are very specialized, Grey Knights, some Space Marines, and some aspects like that. There are Dark Eldar units, but for armies like Chaos Demons, Tyranids, you're not really seeing a lot. A Homodat's a Homodat. There's no upgrade sergeants or stuff like that. So you lose some of the front models from the damage aspect going forward. That's going to change some of the distance, but more or less, you're not losing anybody special overall. And this does have a bit of an effect where the Orc Knob has been part of the game. He's been usually able to withstand a lot of the damage going on. Power Fist Sergeants on other Army Space Marines. Now he is going to be he could be exposed to damage. He's no longer protected by a bubble of men that seem to die all around him while he is able to free freely with Power Fist. So the wound allocation, that the speed of the weapons, it plays a big role on where your model wants to be in the front or back. So it's been a very good change. It finally seems to have nerfed the so-called Death Star units with the wound allocation things of spreading wounds all across the units. You're not seeing that with the Knob Bikers anymore. You're not seeing that with the Paladins anymore. So myself, I run with the Grotesque. You're not seeing those effects like that anymore. Now the models are dying as the wounds are allocated to the model. This is very similar to editions before, but it now is allocated to the models that are basically in the front, where editions before it was just one model of the same type of characteristics was removed. So at least in that aspect, there's more interested to the thematic aspect of that model being removed. So with the early part of what I was saying for like Tyranids and Chaos Demons who are being shot as they move forward, now you have a different thing. I've been hearing for some blogs moving around. Tyranids have gone slow. The assault is really bad. What happened to Fleet? Fleet for Tyranids is really, really, I think, very flavorful, very accurate for my two armies, the Tyranids and Dark Eldar, because of the reroll of the 6. And the interesting thing that people don't seem to fully understand, I think, is the Fleet special rule is allowing you to reroll one or more of the D6s. So if you're rolling a 5 or 6 on the die, you don't have to pick that up, roll the dice again, and probably get the same result of a 5 or 6, which you're looking for the chart. You can pick up only the 1 that you rolled, leave the 5 on the table, roll that, and you're going to get an increased distance of charge. So they may have not gotten the old 5th edition from move 6, go another 6, and charge 6. There's your 18 grouping right there. you're now moving the 6, and then you can still get close to the 18 on that charge range, but the way you're moving now, it's about really roughly the same. It's really not drastically different um, from where the Tyranid's charging will be. And for like especially Hormagaunts with the Bounding Leap, you can roll all 3 of those dice. So you're getting the surefire 6 in that 12-inch run from the 6 to the 6th move and 12-inch run. So it's still very good. I think it kind of slows down the assault army a little bit. This game edition is helping the shooting a bit more, but they didn't give everything um, to the shooting army in that aspect there, because the close combat is going to be pretty strong in terms of what they've done for armies that are usually this, especially in close combat, the fearless special rule, which basically is now they're not going to take damage, so they're just going to stay in combat, and that will tie up lines. And I know this because in 3rd edition, this fearless rule is pretty much the same. You go into combat, and fearless models will not be removed. This will make Chaos Space Marines very powerful with those that follow the gods of the Camp Corn Berserkers, Plague Bearers, Thousand Sons, Emperor's Children. Those Marine type were very powerful in the 3rd edition because they have a 3+ armor save. Plague Bearers are going to have Feel No Pain, and then they just don't go away. So it's very hard to remove those models once they have gotten engaged in close combat. They're pretty much going to stay in that range, and it's a battle of attrition. It's a very slow fight, which is why it's interesting because they went away from it, because that was a problem. I think because of the way the shooting has gone now, they had to get something back to the assault army, so the fearless had to tweak it, had to change. And that leads to the shooting again, Overwatch. This is very interesting. This is, I think, a feast or famine rule for small groups. I think it is not really as big of a deal unless you have a rapid fire weapon. So a 10-man Marine squad can do some good damage. Not a drastic amount. But the biggest thing I saw on a couple of places was like very large squads, 20, 30 models that are being charged. Really seem to be bringing some serious damage with that Overwatch. So that's something to probably think about in your builds, or as you want to charge, or how you're going to deal with those large squads, because charging them with a unit is going to be costly. You are going to lose many of those models early in that part of the charge because they're still fighting back. That could really change the devastation of quantity versus quality of a great close combat unit being shot to pieces and losing high-priced models just simply by the Overwatch shooting. Because statistically, you're going to roll some 6s in there, enough of the wounds, and that could fall back if you can't withstand those shots. So those charging models better have great armor saves, maybe possibly Feel No Pain, to survive that type of attack. So Overwatch is definitely very going to play a lot to the shooting army. It's really allowing them to make defense lines and really absorbing a lot of those assault units. So it's going to be interesting to see where the shooting armies go. I'm very interested where my guard are. I don't see Overwatch helping as much with my Grey Knights, because they also do a lot of the close combat themselves. But from your Imperial Guard, and like I said, when we see the Tau armies, this is going to play a big role. So it'll be interesting to see where those things go with that. And back in the close combat part, once you get into that, power weapons have changed to AP3. There are levels of the damage to the armor save. And I've already seen the effect of power weapons being reduced to AP3 because the Terminators, the models that I have not done Marines in a long time, but they are playing the roles of the small tactical dreadnoughts that they, fluff-wise, they were supposed to be. We did have one game played up, and we had Terminators on the table, and they were super, super strong. Really took quite a bit of the army just to get rid of them, which is supposed to be the fluff. They seem like they're back into that. So if you missed your Terminator models, if you're an old player, guess what? It's time to dust them back off and put them on the tabletop, because they're pretty darn powerful. Gotta still watch out for those AP2 weaponry, of course, across the table, but you do have your 5+ invulnerable save. But in close combat, if you get those Terminators in close combat, they are going to thrive. And that's really what they were supposed to be from the addition of Space Hulk. You know, that's who you use. You use Terminators and Space Hulk. So they feel like those roles again, like they can take on anything that's put in front of them. So enjoy those.